JustAskMarmalade here again. Thank you for checking in for another Q&A. This is Q&A number 20, so let's get started right away. So our first question I have this time is from Charlie. Since you were not able to complete your through hike, will you be section hiking this year to complete the Sierra or other sections you missed in 2019? So Charlie, thanks for the question. This will be a quick answer. I've answered this a few times, but I plan on, and I've been dealing with some health stuff, so assuming my health, which is getting much better by the way, if my health is in order, I plan on trying to do the rest of the 1,750 miles I have left. Now I do have an update out, I'm glad you kind of asked on that. This video comes out on Tuesday the 14th. Today is the 13th. I generally film these either on Tuesday or on the day before on Monday, so this happens to be Monday the 13th. Tomorrow is the second part of the permit process day for the PCTA. So I was told, because I'm only doing part of the trail and not the whole thing, that I was supposed to get my permit tomorrow. So that's my plan. And I have somebody else that I'll mention later that I'll probably be hiking some or all of it with, and then have other people join us. But so we had to kind of figure out when we wanted to start the trail. So I've decided that I'm going to try to get my permit. I want to go northbound, which is what I originally wanted to do my whole through hike. So I'm going to go northbound and start at Kennedy Meadows, which is at mile marker 702, and technically the end of the desert and the start of the Sierras. So that's where I left off last year, if those of you follow me, and then I flipped up because of the snow level. I couldn't keep going, so I flipped up all the way up to the Canadian border and started coming down south before I got hurt. So I'm going to try to get my permit for the 20th of June going northbound from Kennedy Meadows, and technically to get the whole trail done where I left off, I have to stop at Stevens Pass, which is about halfway into Washington. But I'm going to get my permit all the way to the border in case I feel like keep going and going all the way to the monument. So it'll depend how I feel and how I'm going and that kind of thing. So normally when you are doing a through hike, you want to try to get to the sweet spot to get to the end of Kennedy Meadows and start the Sierras is June 1 to June 15. And it's all dependent on snow. This year we've had a lot of early snow in the Sierra. It's tapered off some. So what we're going to do is, normally, like I said, the 1st to the 15th, I'm going to do the 20th, which gives us a little more time for snow to melt, and hopefully the snow will not be so heavy the rest of this spring, and it'll be a normal snow year. So that's the plan. So thanks for asking the question. Okay, next I have a couple questions from Heather Hill, who is a personal friend of mine. Heather, thanks for the questions. The first question was, did you see people using camel backpacks? How do those compare to carrying water bottles and the 3-liter water bladder you have? So when I started, I did the typical thing, and I think for day hikes, the water bladder is great. You know, it holds 2 or 3 liters, the Camelback, inside your day pack or your backpack, and then has the blue hose you've seen, and you can suck on that. Personally, there's a couple reasons why I think most people that through hike and do long hikes have gone away from it. Is I guess the physical weight of it, which is not too bad, but it's difficult to open and fill water and filter and get it in the actual Camelback. I also didn't like that the hose itself, the water in the hose when it's in the sun gets hot. You can get like some neoprene to go over it to keep it cooler, but I just don't want to mess with that. But like a lot of times when you're thirsty, the first sips were really hot water if it was hot out. The biggest pain for me with the Camelbacks and why I do not use them is because when you have a full backpack and you have your 3 liters of water, not only is it a big pouch of water, but it's very hard to get back in your pack. It's actually hard to even get out. Like if you can picture, our packs are fairly packed in there tight, and in there is like a sleeve where the Camelback water bladder is. You've got to sometimes, one pack I had to empty half of or 2/3 of my stuff out of the pack to get to the water bladder. Do that, pain to get the water, and then put it back in the pack, and then put everything back in the pack and keep going. Water bottles, they're easy to access when it comes to drinking, easy to filter water into them to use, and the key is they weigh nothing when they're empty. So it's like a ½ ounce the bottles weigh when they're empty. So the bottles are why almost everybody does bottles and does not do Camelbacks. I saw a few people on their through hikes with them, and I think it's just out of habit stuff, but for me they were more of a pain than it was worth. Okay, and the second question from Heather was, what did you use to cover your backpack in the rain? So I'll just show you a picture of exactly what I used, which is what most people use. So I'm changing. Living in Southern California, it doesn't rain here much, and we generally don't go hiking it because if we don't need to really. If you wait another day, it's going to be a beautiful day. So I didn't have much experience in the rain. When I got up to Washington and flipped, as I said earlier, and I flipped at the Washington, it rained almost every day and night. So, and it was July. But I learned a lot about the rain, and what people don't really figure out, and I didn't really put a lot of thought into, is that, and I'll try to show a picture if I have it here. If not, I'll just explain it. If you can picture a side view of somebody with a backpack on, you have the rain pack cover on the back of your backpack covering that, and you are wearing your rain jacket. But what happens is the water that comes off your body, your hat, your pack, everything goes between your back and the back of the pack, which is not covered by a pack cover. And so it's the part of the backpack that sets up against your back. So that water goes back there and it soaks through your pack, through the back portion of the backpack that seats against your back. So if it's a heavy rain, it's going to soak through that direction anyway. So what I learned is, actually the day I got hurt, and I'm also going to look for a picture for this, and if I don't have one, I apologize, but the day I got hurt, I met with somebody, and she was actually somebody that we talked a little bit before the hike started, and she caught up to me, and we hiked that day together, and it really made me think about changing how I do the rain. Like, I'm gonna have a rain jacket, a very lightweight one, which I already have, that I'm gonna do a review on, that keeps, it's on the outside of my my warm synthetic equivalent to a puffy jacket. Keep it on the outside. It also acts as a windbreaker. It keeps a layer, you know, it was at night or in the day, and it is a rain jacket. But what I think I'm gonna go to is maybe a fairly expensive, I'm still thinking about this, but Z-Packs has a Dyneema, which used to be Cuban fiber, poncho, and she had one of those, and when she had it on, it was pouring and miserable, and I was getting soaked. She didn't get almost a drop on her except for her feet, and she's a smaller woman, so it hangs down further on her, and I'm a big guy, so it won't as much. But hopefully in this picture it shows what I'm talking about right here. And so the theory is you put it completely over you, and it could be a cheap poncho too, but there's some reasons why I want to buy this. It's fairly expensive from Z-Packs. That's $175, but it acts as a poncho. It's a ground cloth. You could use it as a shade if you want to put in some bushes and get some shade, so it's multi-purpose. And the theory is you have the hood over your head, and there's no seams going down, so when the water rains, that doesn't get between your pack and your jacket, all that just literally runs off of you. And I was just looking at her going, man, that's genius. The other thing I want to do is I do carry by Gosma Gear, a thin light foam pad. I fold it up into eighths, and I actually lay it flat against my back inside my pack. So if you can picture in my pack but against my back, so when I put all my gear in there, if there's anything pokey or pointy, it doesn't poke me in the back too much, but it's a good flat place to put it. I lay that down. It's got a very minuscule R value, but the theory of this pad is to help me my air mattress not slide around a lot in my tent, but also to create another layer for potential punctures. And even when I had that, I got punctures and I had 2 air mattresses go. So the other use of this Dyneema, you know, the old name was Cuban fiber ponchos, you can lay it down in the floor of my tent, and it can act as another layer, maybe create a little bit of R value, but also help from punctures. Also, it is a waterproof material. So I can lay that down, and that creates another layer in case some water, or I had a hole in the bottom of my tent and the water's coming up. So I'm really leaning towards this poncho. It only weighs, like, I actually don't know, I think it's 4 or 5, 6 ounces, something like that. And it would get rid of my rain cover, which weighed about 4 or 5 ounces, and was in a bag about this big. So it'll be equivalent in size, about equivalent in weight, but I'll have a lot more uses for it. So that's what I'm going with. And yeah, so that's what I use and where I think I'm going towards. So my next question is from Hung Farlow. He asked me, did you see many hikers packing for their fears, which is a saying we use on trail, with lots of unnecessary gear? Did your views on gear or lack thereof evolve through the hike, practicing more minimalism? So that is an interesting question, actually. I had to put some thought into this. I think it's normal to pack for your fears, whether you're backpacking or you're traveling. I used to be in corporate sales, and I brought way too many clothes and slacks and dress shirts and all this stuff, and I would just throw all kinds of stuff in there. So I think backpacking in general has helped me practice minimalism. When I travel now, I bring what I need, and that's it. Yeah, I would say that one of the biggest thing is too many clothes, and I think especially for women. And sometimes this is hard because I happen to run hot, so I'm lucky because I don't need to bring as many clothes and as warmer clothes. But a lot of women do run cold and traditionally, so I think they need to bring more clothes. But I think you could, work on your layering system and just get it to where you don't need as many things, but have the capability of getting really warm and dry if you have to. So I would say that. From what I noticed, remember, I only hike with so many people. I only see so many people, and if I see them, or a lot of us camp together and things like that, I don't necessarily see everything they own or they brought or that they're using. But I think most people, if they didn't start out light and they brought too much stuff, they quickly learned and got rid of things you don't need. And you can always have it shipped back for you. Like, say you bring too much warm stuff for the desert or whatever, and you start in May and it's hot, you won't need that to the Sierras or somewhere later, maybe up in Washington when it's September. So you can ship things back home if you have somebody helping you out, and then just get it back. So it's not permanent if you make a mistake and send something out. To answer your question, I didn't see it a lot on the trail, but it's only because I only hiked with so many people. I saw a ton of people, but I'm looking and walk by, I don't know what they're bringing. But clothing was the number one thing I would say, which was too much clothes. Okay, our last question is from Gail Walker. Gail had just asked me regarding blisters, what do you think about the needle and thread treatment for blisters? So I've actually never done this, and I've seen it done, I've watched it done, and I think it's a good thing. I haven't gotten a blister, knock on wood, since I got my shoes and socks situation right about 3-4 years ago. I've been hiking for 4 years, and I haven't had a blister in 3.5 years because I've gotten the right shoe and sock combination. But I've had many blisters in my life, and so if you don't know what that is, I don't know if I can find any pictures, but if so, I'll put it here. But it's basically, if you can picture, and it's kind of gross to describe, but if you have a decent sized blister, out in the field, I carry extra sewing needles and thread and things like that to repair in your repair kit. You can use a lighter and sterilize and heat up, a needle and have some thread on there. And it's basically you run, you pop the blister and run the needle through the blister out the other side, still in the blister, and then just drag the string on there. And I think you can tie a couple knots on each end so it stays in place. But that gives it, it keeps the hole from healing too fast, and it keeps the port open so that if you're creating that pus or that liquid, it'll keep draining out for a while, because you want that thing to drain out and dry out. So yeah, so to answer your question, I do believe it. I know it works. I just personally haven't done it, but I definitely, I know about it, and I would do it if I have to. I just haven't been in that situation, thank goodness, but yeah, I would definitely give it a try. I know that many hikers and other sports use it, so it must work. All right guys, so that's Q&A number 20 of them already. Can you believe that? Hard to believe, but thank you for tuning in and watching this, and for the great questions. Please give me a lot more questions. I got a lot of questions this last time, so please bring on more. I just posted a hiking video. I don't know if you guys watched that, but I thought it turned out pretty good. It was my first hike in a while. I'm feeling so much better. Like I said, I've cleaned up my diet. I have gone on CBD. It's been about 2 weeks, and I bet you I'm probably 70% better already. And it's only been 2 weeks, so that's great news. So today is Tuesday the 14th when this video shows. Today is the day I get that permit, so wish me well. I hope I get it, and I'm not too worried about it. But that'll be interesting, and I'll let you know how it went next week. So don't forget, down in the description box below will be my new merch site that's really amazing. It has a lot of cool stuff, and you have to click on each item and see there's multiple colors in every shirt, and reasonably priced. Remember, every single dollar goes towards new gear. I'm going smaller, lighter, more compact. It's really going to help me out. So if you can do anything at all, it'd be really great. And then you also have the new Marmalade logo on there, so that's great. And then also my Patreon page is also another way you can support me. I'm also in the process of becoming an affiliate member on Amazon. So a lot of things that I use and the gear I use, I will put in the description box below. And if you know anything about it, it's very simple. It doesn't cost you anything. If you see, let's say, the tripod that I'm filming with right now that holds my cell phone, and you want to get one of these ultralight tripods for your vlogging or for whatever, I can put the link below, in some of my videos. You click on that, you buy it. It doesn't cost you any extra, but a portion of that goes to me. And that's what Amazon does for us. So I'm looking into doing that, setting that up right now. So just remember that. And thank you for watching so much, and for all the positive comments and people reaching out and giving me ideas on my health part of that. It really means a lot to me. It shows that you guys care and that you appreciate these videos and the time it takes to make them. And until next time, see you down the trail.